organizing his exit papers. There is a feud brewing there. According to the Boston Herald, part of the friction between Gronk and Belichick might be Gronkowski's seeing Brady's personal trainer, Alex Guerrero. Belichick, not a fan. He reportedly chastised Gronk in front of the team for being involved with the now famous TB12 method. All right, Coach, break it down a little bit. You know, Tom Belichick, why would he do this to Gronk in front of the team?
The idea that anybody is shocked that Bill Belichick called someone out in front of the team, to me, is the more amazing part of the story. That's just what happens. If Bill has an issue with something that's being done, whether it's from a playing perspective, whether it's from a process perspective, whether it's a classroom, the weight room, he's going to bring it up. And he's going to bring it up in front of everybody so everybody knows exactly.
It's more effective.
Yeah, it's very effective. and he's going to let people know where he stands. With the issue with outside influences, trainers, strength coaches, doctors, all those different things, you spend a lot of time, money, and effort to put the best program possible in place for your players. And if there's something that's missing, you'll go get it as an organization. You don't want your guys going out and having to see someone else, having to pay to see for someone else. You're perfectly happy to try to give them everything they need. And then the other issue is you don't know when they go to someone else what the level of treatment is. You have the best doctors. You have the best training staff. And you get some of these outside sources, and I'm not saying this about Alex, that he's a snake oil salesman,
no,
but there are a bunch of them out there. I had a guy in Cleveland before I got there who was getting shots shipped in from Cleveland and putting it in his knee. Like stuff like that, because someone told him,
"Hey, this shots shipped in from where?"
From not from Cleveland, from Canada. Like, and then sticking in his
yeah.
So
down
we went from Cleveland to Cleveland. It was a very long trip.
Southside of Cleveland.
It sounds like I need one of those shots from Canada. But anyways, and you get in that situation, and you're like, what are you doing? So I completely understand the frustration, and calling him out in front of the team. That's not a big deal. That's just the way it works.
So listen, you had a very similar response to Chris when we were talking about this earlier, which is this is what Belichick does. Like, he picks out the worst plays and starts with Tom Brady in front of the whole team and goes through all of those. In my mind, this is a different type of criticism, right? Like, I think everyone understands if a coach is going to, especially a coach similar to Belichick, we've heard Greg Popovich lauded for this approach of picking on the worst plays from the best players in front of everyone to set the tone. Listen, there are no sacred cows. This is how things are done. I looked at this when I read this story as different because I see what that is teaching other players. It's teaching other players that A, the best players on the team make mistakes, and B, I'm going to treat all of you like equals, even if your talent is not equal. Calling out Gronk about what Gronk clearly believes is the best way to get his body right in front of the group of players. What is gained by that? I understand what's gained by the coaching if it's the game film.
There's a motivational factor.
Right. It's not, or calling out Gronk was like, you're not showing up in the weight room.
Right.
You're not working hard enough. So explain to me where.
One thing I don't think it's fair to, we don't know the specifics of the criticism. All right. We know that his method works. We don't know if it was as simple as he was cramping one day in practice, and Belichick addresses that by saying something referring to another trainer. So we don't have the context of the conversation. I'm just telling you that the method in sports, that it works. And without the content of the conversation, what it was specifically talking about, we're guessing at best. I know what Belichick, what he does works. All right? And I know that if he's doing something outside of what the team believes in. Let's look at Carolina, for example. They say the bidding for the Carolina Panthers has exceeded $2.5 billion. I know Mr. Kraft thinks this way. I know a lot of other owners and NFL coaches think this way. This is a billion-dollar business. We're a billion-dollar company. If I can't provide for you what you need, Jenna, I must be doing this the wrong way. And New England thinks that they're one of the best franchise, top to bottom. They think they provide everything that the players might need, and all other great organizations, they realize the liability. They realize lack of not knowing what the coaches and the organization is trying to do when you bring in that outside influence, how it can pollute the waters and muddy the waters, not only for that player, but for other players going forward.
Nick, Okay.
And when you're the head coach, you're responsible for everything. So it's not just the plays that take place in the field, but you're responsible for the general operation. So whether that means someone operating in the strength and conditioning room, someone operating with the trainer, whether it means getting to the plane on time, everything that happens in that public relations, dealing with the media, you've got all those things that you have to oversee. And you've got to make sure that people are doing it the right way, the way that the organization believes in it. So it's not just about, did you get this play right? It's, are you doing the things organizationally that you're supposed to do? And as a head coach, it's your job to make sure that that's in place.
I think we're all sort of focusing on the minutia of this, but the bigger question here, the biggest picture is there something else going on? And you touched on this earlier, and I agree with you. Is there this sense of control battling and brewing within the organization that Brady's got his guy in there? He's one of the he's probably the only player that Belichick has no control over. He doesn't want anyone else to have any part of that whatsoever. And there's already friction between Gronk and Belichick. Why sort of, heighten that a little bit by...
Well, there's friction in relationships. There's friction in professional coaches and the players. I think
But do you think he really cares if he brings Guerrero in, or do you think there's a bigger narrative here?
Oh, no, I know he cares. He cares about everything that's going on. He's overseeing everything. Absolutely. He's about winning, keeping the players focused, and maximizing the players' ability on and off the football field. And if he's not comfortable with something, and Guerrero practices are not all conventional.
No.
And I cannot sign off on them. And I know Bill Belichick, without having a conversation with him, I know that he would conceptually have problems with some of the things that he was practicing.
And you have a responsibility to make sure that the players are getting the best treatment, are doing the best things for them, and you've got to make sure that that's in line with what your doctors say, what your trainers say, and you have authority over a lot of those issues as well. So if something was taking place that wasn't in line with New England's process or New England's rules and regulations, then Bill's going to make sure that everybody is in line with it.
And this might be a slightly unfair question because I'm asking you to go in a locker room where you're not at. But then what is the trickle-down effect of Belichick to the entire team making it clear, I do not sign off on this guy? We've removed his office. I'm not signing off on him.
The trickle-down effect is use him at your own risk.
Oh, well, hold on. Let me finish the question real quick, though. When you know your most prominent, best, famous player is basically shooting a documentary in partnership with how great this guy is.
It didn't matter. My great trainer, everyone couldn't train like me. So that was not the right recipe for the 53-man roster. As much as Denny Green respected what I was doing, he was just like, I know these guys would kill me if I made them train like Chris trains. So he understands the totality of it compared to what one specific player wants. And what Tom Brady's getting is totally different than any other type of treatment that we've seen a player get.
I remember sitting down with Asante Samuel early in his career in my office, and he wanted to play something a certain way. I'm like, no, you're not playing it that way. He's like, well, that's how Ty Law plays it. I said, okay, well, you're not Ty Law. When you become Ty Law, we can have that conversation. But there were certain things and certain exceptions that you made because of a track record, because of a history of production, because of the relationship. But the trickle-down effect is, this is my team, this is the way you're going to do things, and there's going to be no exceptions. Okay? Maybe Tom can do something a little bit differently, but everybody else, it doesn't work that way. And if you have a problem with it, come see me.
I would say Gronk has benefited from being under Belichick's thumb as much as any other player. All right? People just think, oh, Gronk could be successful anywhere. He's been successful under that regime with that pressure kind of keeping the ball in the fairway, because Gronk would definitely hit one in the woods, left or right. So I believe he's benefited from what Belichick's doing there in New England.
Fun conversation. Coach, thanks so much, as always. Yeah, you know me.
Bring your trainer up in here, Coach. You can bring him. We'll take him.
Hey, is there a new team emerging in the Saquon Barkley sweepstakes? That's next on First Things First.
I've talked to you about this. Don't you point that thumb at me, man.